The decision was swift. In fact, it was too fast for gas stations to apply the new prices. Posters with the new prices were put on top of gas pumps and calculators were used instead during the first hours of the morning. Prime Minister Sherif Ismail says fuel subsidies tripled during the 2016 and 2017 fiscal year and that the government cannot maintain that further.
Our subsidies calculations last year for the current fiscal year were £35 billion. We increased the prices in November. Despite that, the cost of subsidies increased to reach £110 billion, and that has burdened the nation's budget. Today, we're trying to rectify the situation by decreasing power subsidies and direct that to other sectors, as in services, and direct support to low-income citizens.
Popular fuel derivatives like diesel and 80-octane gasoline increased the most by nearly 55%, jumping 20 US cents per liter. That has immediately reflected on the prices of popular transportation, with some bus tickets increasing by nearly 30% on Thursday morning. Transportation ministers said that the ticket prices should go up by a cent or two at the most, but some Egyptians say that wasn't the case.
In the morning, there were problems in transportation. Drivers didn't want to move unless they increased the fare, and people were yelling at them. At the end, it increased 5 cents, so we now pay 23 cents for just one connection. It's too much. Our income has not increased and we won't afford to pay for transportation.
The problem is not just in gasoline. It will reflect on everything else. We've been living in hell. I would now pay $10 daily for fuel. I have 4 kids. How can I afford to break bread for them? The government is not feeling the pressure we're in. We are the poor people. All we ask for is for prices to be steady.
The price of butane or cooking gas cylinders doubled from 15 Egyptian pounds in the official market to 30 pounds. That's nearly $1.6. A great deal of subsidies still remain, as government officials say one cylinder costs $6.4. The last time the Egyptian government increased fuel subsidies was by nearly 50% last November. Some petroleum products have more than doubled since the government began planning for its economic reform in 2014. 50% of Egyptians live on or near the poverty line and 30% live under it. So even the slightest changes in fuel prices would greatly impact the majority of Egyptians. And this recent increase in fuel prices will reflect on market prices in the coming days. Many fear that without proper government supervision, prices may go up more than they should. Adel EL Mahrouky, CGTN, Cairo.
Well, Adel himself now joins us in Cairo with an update on this. Adel, as we heard there, this move will certainly hit the poorest of Egyptians, who of course are already struggling with rising living costs. Now, given the fact that the government did increase the amount they put into social welfare programs, how rough was the reaction on ground?
Well, in terms of popular movements, there hasn't been any. But when you speak to anyone about prices or the expectation of how prices will be, they all know that once fuel goes up, definitely all products that are transported, which is basically everything, will also go up with it. And since the devaluation of the Egyptian pound that you've earlier mentioned last November, the wages for most Egyptians have not changed significantly, if at all. And therefore, this is expected to put more pressure on most Egyptians. And there hasn't been any indications, at least from the wages terms, that this might be lifted, or even if there are any increases, it has not been accustomed to see decent increase that would make it up for the price hikes that are expected to surge in the coming days. And therefore, it seems that it will remain as is for them, but the pressure, the financial pressure or the burden that they will feel is expected to increase.
Now let's talk about its impact on inflation, Adel. We did see inflation coming down in May, but with this new decision, we most likely will see that inflationary pressure pick up again. With the pound in mind, should we expect a second wave of inflation going forward?
Well, definitely. That's what all expectations are leading to, that this will definitely happen. How much or how significant will it become, we are about to see in the coming days. But the thing is, what experts here believe the government is the main reason why the government has taken this decision this week, or at least specifically on Thursday, is that they want to get over with the entire subsidy system and try to make the new fiscal year, which starts on July 1st, witness significant improvement. So that's why just 2 days before the current fiscal year ends, they did this subsidy removal, or the fuel price increase, so that the next year would have more significant improvement in terms of budget deficit and in terms of a new fiscal year approach. But at the end, again, how significant the price hikes will be, we don't know. The May, as you mentioned, yes, the inflation rates were quite steady. It has not been jumping as significantly as it used to in the past 5 or 6 months, but it's still at a remarkable 27%, nearly 27%, and therefore it is a huge number. The month-to-month increase was about 1.2 or 1.4%, which has been indicating that an ease is going on. So in the coming months, it is expected that once this week, or the one that will follow at the most, the price hikes just take their cycle and start to steady, hopes are that inflation rates will come down significantly, and what Egyptians have seen in the past 6 months or so would not happen again.
Well, many thanks, Adel, for that update. Adel El Mahrouky joining us there in Cairo.